There was a moment in my empty nest transition when I stopped needing all the answers, but it wasn't a new lesson for me. It was something I'd practiced at least several other life transitions already. This time, I've just needed to trust it again. I'm Clara May, a life transitions coach and a retired military spouse of 20 years with 8 moves, including 2 transcontinental moves with my 2 kids. I have navigated a lot of uncertainty, and right now I'm living through the empty nest transition myself in real time. In this video, I'm walking you through why uncertainty isn't the enemy in this transition. And I'll tell you about the exact shift that led me to actually moving forward to what was next. Here's the first thing I want you to hear. You do not need a full plan to take the next step. You just need to trust what you're starting to notice. If you are just starting to notice that what was working before it isn't anymore, that's just what you might need to change. And that feels uncertain, and that's okay. I'm telling you, when I first went through this several years ago, we lived abroad, and I knew I couldn't just stay at home anymore. And I also knew that I wouldn't be able to find a job in public health. That's what I have my master's in. And man, that was a hard space to be in. I truly didn't know how to move forward in those circumstances. It was like there had to be a next, but I had no idea what it was. So you know what was the first step I took to see what I was actually able to do? Something even if I didn't know the outcome. I wrote out a list of all the things I did know for sure about what I like to do. Just taking that time and space to ask myself what I did know in that moment really helped the discomfort of uncertainty, even if I didn't know how it would show up in the future. You don't need a 5-year plan. You just need one desire, one thing you're noticing right now, even a small thing to take that next step. This is why this transition doesn't have to be just something you survive. For the first time in a long time, you have room to notice what you want. And that's not nothing. That's just new. Knowing you don't need the answers is one thing. But knowing when that fear of uncertainty hits hardest in the transition, that's what really helped me. Uncertainty isn't constant, and uncertainty during a life transition, including the empty nest, also isn't consistent. But it is the most intense usually at the very beginning of a transition, when everything is new and nothing has settled yet. And it eases even as the outcome is still unknown as the transition goes. But I remember at the beginning of one of my life transitions, sitting next to my daughter on a flight to Hawaii, for example, watching the clouds swallow the green fields of Germany below, everything I knew. But I didn't know if in this new place, if I'd find friends who understood me the way my community in Germany did. I didn't know what schools my kids would go to, what my new routines would look like. Every small unknown felt big. But here's what I've seen over and over with my clients too. That uncertainty that feels unbearable at the start softens. I've had clients where I do an actual double take because the person in front of me is so much calmer than the person who sat down across from me months earlier, even though nothing about their circumstances in their life transition is fully resolved yet. So if you're in the earliest part of this transition right now, the intensity of how uncertainty is affecting you is not permanent. And if you've been in the empty nest transition for a while and things still feel uncertain, that's okay too. Sometimes uncertainty needs to just stay around a little longer to help us to get to where we really want to be. And that's the point. Uncertainty doesn't need to be avoided, even if it's uncomfortable. Naming what stage you're in does help you, though, to hold more compassion for exactly where you are. You're not doing this wrong because it feels loud right now. Loud is where it starts, but it's not where it stays. If you want the fuller roadmap, not just this one piece, but a way to map out your whole empty nest transition, beginning to end, that's exactly what I built in my book. Your Life Transition Toolkit, how to weather what comes and embrace what's next. And you can find it in the comments in the description, claramay.com/. But in the meantime, I just want to remind you that uncertainty is not just about surviving. There's stuff that uncertainty is actually building in you, and it's for you. It doesn't just take something from you, it lets it build something for you. And for a lot of us in this transition, that is something that is a skill. Remember that list I told you about earlier, the one where I wrote down what I did know what I wanted, even though I didn't know where any of it was headed? One thing on that list surprised me. It wasn't about my degree, and it wasn't practical. It was that I loved having honest conversations with women, the kind we don't always get in everyday social scenes. So I started a women's discussion group in my village, just reading books that asked us hard questions together. I didn't know where that would lead. I just knew it was true for what brought me enjoyment and fulfillment. And that's the muscle I keep coming back to. Noticing a desire, trusting it, even without knowing exactly where it will lead. So every time you notice a desire and act on it, even in a small way, and especially if you don't actually know the outcome, you're building that muscle. It gets stronger with practice, not with certainty, not with knowing. How's that for a switch? This is the heart of it. Uncertainty creates the opportunity for possibilities. It's not something to fear or avoid. And for example, I love this Rumi quote. When you take the next step, the way appears. Once again, uncertainty isn't proof that something wrong. It's proof that something new is being built, including you. You don't need all the answers. You just need to trust what you're starting to notice and take the next very best next step. But trusting what you're noticing isn't a guessing game. There's actually a way to find out clearly what you want. And it's not out there somewhere to be discovered. It's actually already in you. You've seen what happens when I trust what I'm noticing, even without a plan. In the next video, I'm walking you through the exact tool I use with myself and my clients to figure out what you actually want, so you're not just noticing your desires, you're building a life around them with more clarity and more confidence. I'll see you then.